The mind is powerful, beautifully powerful. It can create worlds from nothing. Dreams, memories, ideas. It can turn silence into meaning, pain into poetry, chaos into imagination. The mind can save you, but it can also trap you. That is the frightening part. The same place where hope is born is also where fear survives. And sometimes, the prison does not have bars, only thoughts, invisible walls, endless loops, conversations you replay at night, mistakes you cannot stop revisiting, scenarios that never happened, yet still exhaust you. That is the danger of the mind. It can create suffering without reality touching you. One thought becomes another, then another, until suddenly you are drowning inside your own head, and no one notices, because externally everything looks normal. You smile, you answer, you function, but internally there is noise, doubt, fear, overthinking, the constant pressure of trying to control what cannot be controlled. And slowly, your own mind becomes the place you fear the most, not because it is ugly, but because it is powerful, beautifully dangerous. Because the mind can make cages feel comfortable. It can convince you to stay trapped inside fear, inside old pain, inside identities you should have outgrown. You are not enough. You will fail. They will leave. The mind repeats these things long enough, and eventually they begin to sound true. That is how prisons work, not through chains, through belief. And many people never realize the door was unlocked. They spend years imprisoned by old wounds, past voices, fear disguised as protection. Because the mind remembers, especially pain, especially rejection. It replays moments that made you feel small, as if suffering repeatedly might somehow protect you from suffering again. But it doesn't. It only deepens the cage, and over time, you stop living freely. You begin surviving mentally, analyzing everything, questioning everything, overthinking simple moments until peace disappears. That is why mental exhaustion can feel heavier than physical pain, because you cannot escape your own thoughts. They follow you everywhere, into sleep, into silence, into moments that should have felt peaceful. And yet, the mind is not your enemy. It is wounded sometimes, afraid, overprotective. It creates fear because something inside you once broke. And healing means confronting that, questioning the lies you repeated for years, learning that not every thought deserves trust, because thoughts are powerful, but they are not always truth. Fear speaks loudly, insecurity speaks constantly, but truth is quieter. It asks you to pause, to breathe, to separate reality from imagination. And once you understand that, the prison changes, the walls weaken, the noise softens. You begin realizing how many limits were self-created, how many fears came from old pain, and slowly, you stop fighting yourself. You stop turning your mind into a battlefield. Because peace does not come from controlling every thought. It comes from no longer believing every fearful one. That is freedom, not escaping your mind, understanding it. Because the mind is both the cage and the key. And if the mind is a beautiful prison, awareness is how you escape.